Hello and welcome to the NFL Injury Report podcast for Week 13. I'm Big Italy 42 here talking about some big injuries from Week 13 as we move toward Week 14. First off, the backup quarterback for the Colts finally got his first loss. Matt Hasselbeck, neck and shoulder injury here, and multiple injuries. It seems like he was taken out of the game in the fourth. The game was way out of hand anyway. It was a 4-touchdown game. As Zach mentions here in the article, it's possible maybe he stayed in if the game was close, but obviously this game well out of hand. Steelers running away with it, so they brought in Charlie Whitehurst. And nice name here, Clipboard Jesus, the nickname for Charlie Whitehurst, and been a backup forever with Seattle, things of that nature throughout his career. But facing the Jags that are allowing 265 passing yards a game, 24 passing touchdowns, slight minimum on both sides, of course. He's a guy, I guess you could take a chance on him. The Colts do have weapons. It's not a bad matchup. The Jags did just give up 42 points to Titans, but not a guy I would go out of my way to play, but certainly a guy, if you want to take a shot here and there, if you're making a ton of teams, I don't mind that one. CJ Anderson, ankle injury, finally had his big game last week, including the game-winning touchdown against the Patriots. 8 touches, 54 yards, and then was taken out in the second quarter. We're hearing that maybe it was a precaution. This game wasn't close. The Broncos didn't win it by a ton of actual points, but they were never really threatened in this game. We'll hear more about him during the week here, but Ronnie Hillman's going to be the big benefactor, of course. And Hillman has shown that he is a good back. He's had some decent games there, facing a Raiders team that's allowing 106.7 rushing yards per game. And obviously with Brock Osweiler under center, this is a team that's going to try to manage the clock, run the football. And Osweiler's done fine with that. And Hillman, as we know, certainly a guy who could get 20-plus touches, 4,700 on DraftKings, 64 on FanDuel. Not a bad option there. Dontrelle Inman, the next man down for the Chargers. Another injury to this receiving core. He was replacing Keenan Allen. Stevie Johnson had to be carted off as well. Inman has had some concussion history in his past, but right now, we're seeing good signs. Should be out for at least this week. Next up, I don't know where they're going to find more wide receivers, bringing in some veterans, maybe some guys off practice squad. It's going to be ugly, but this is a situation where you don't want to be touching this passing game anyway. The offensive line's decimated. There's little options. You can see Malcolm Floyd that could be stepping up, but this is just a stay-away situation for me, and Zach certainly says the same here as well. Travis Benjamin with a shoulder injury. Left the game early, had 2 targets, didn't catch either one. We don't know the extent of the injury. He's questionable at this point moving forward towards the 49ers next week. He is the deep ball threat. Brian Hartline should pick up some extra targets, but this is an offensive line that looked just horrible. Hartline, past 3 weeks, 22 catches for 234 yards. 49ers are a good matchup for wideouts, as they have given up the 5th most DraftKings points to wideouts per game. Hartline, a nice solid floor option here. We've got Johnny Manziel coming back. Likely reports coming out this morning. He's probably going to start, so that's a situation to monitor, but also temporary expectations. More of a cash game type play than a guy with huge upside there. Crockett Gilmore for the Ravens, another guy going down. This is just an unfortunate situation for the Ravens. Everyone seems to be hurt now. This season, he's been, as Zach mentioned here, a second-tier tight end. And he's been pretty good, but they do have Max Williams behind him. They don't know the extent of the injury yet, but if he misses time, Max Williams obviously will step up. He was out last game with a concussion. We'll see if he's cleared for the Seahawks game. Seahawks have struggled, 6th most tight end points on DraftKings all season long. Did much better this week, but it is a pretty anemic Minnesota offense, though. Now we're seeing Matt Schaub could be injured as well. It's ugly for the Ravens. You could see Max Williams maybe as a single bullet GPP guy, but definitely not a good situation. As Zach mentions here, something I certainly agree with. You're playing the defense as playing the Ravens right now, and you're not worried too much about that Ravens offense. So that'll be wrapping things up here for us for the injury report. Find us on Twitter at DF Cafe. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got lots of other great content at dailyfantasycafe.com.